And this particular session, we're going to be doing a meditation called Loving Kindness Meditation. And I think quite a few of you here will have done this one before. And it's a meditation where we're just wishing ourselves well and other people. And it's very radical meditation. It wasn't actually taught by the Buddha. The Buddha just said we should be kind to ourselves and other people all the time, come what may. And some 100 or so years after his death, a chap called Buddhaghosa put this practice together. And it's a helpful practice because we take ourselves in stages from on different levels of loving kindness. And it's not actually about it's not about generating a sense of love towards other people. It's much more about noticing how we are, what our attitudes are to ourselves and to other people. But that's really important because we're often not very nice to ourselves, most of us, and we're certainly not very nice to other people in our minds, if not in our speech. So it's just really noticing that with a sense of kindness and acceptance, not beating ourselves up for being like that, because we're just human. That's what human beings are like. But we don't have to be like that. So we're also recognizing that. And but the main thing is to accept that this is what I do. This is how I treat myself. This is how I treat other people, at least in my mind. And perhaps having at the same time an aspiration not to be like that, but not beating ourselves up for it. So we recognize in the first part of each stage how we are, what our attitudes are. And then in the second stage, we just try and drop those as much as we can and wish the person that we're looking at well, wishing them happiness and freedom from suffering, and having a sense of loving kindness, if we can, towards them. So there's 5 stages. The first stage is ourselves. The second stage is a good friend that we care about. Third stage is a stranger, not a complete stranger, somebody that we know and see from time to time, but we don't know them very well. And then the fourth stage is somebody we actually have difficulty with, somebody we don't like, somebody who irritates us or causes us some kind of pain. And we're not trying to stop having that feeling about the person. We're just noticing it honestly, accepting that that is how we feel, but at the same time trying to extend goodwill to that person in their lives. And in the final stage, we just bring all 4 people together, and then we spread the practice, we spread our sense of kindness out into the world. Okay, so I've got a poem which I'm going to read, which some of you will have heard before. It's a Mary Wings poem. And we'll start by just settling down, as always. So, just noticing our being, just coming into the present moment. We may have thoughts interrupting us, but we're just going to keep coming back to this present moment. Noticing how we are, how we're feeling, mentally, emotionally, physically. And the different aspects of all that. There may be pleasant bits and unpleasant bits in our experience at the moment, and neutral bits. So we're not trying to grab on to the pleasant bits, we're just letting them be as they are. We're not trying to push away the unpleasant bits, we're just welcoming them and giving them kindness and acceptance. We're noticing the weight of our body on the bed or the floor, the chair or the cushion, and just giving up our weight to whatever we're sitting or lying on. And just allowing our bodies to relax, allowing our minds to relax. So this is a poem called Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. This is the Metta Bhavana meditation, loving kindness meditation. We begin by taking stock of ourselves. As human beings, we are precious. We've been born into a precious life. Where we have the freedom and the ability to do many things. We live in fortunate times in terms of health, in terms of standard of living, in terms of safety. And we have the freedom to be ourselves. So first of all, can we have a sense of gratitude for this precious life? It may not be perfect, but we have many advantages. And this precious life is like a precious jewel. A jewel cut with many sides. A jewel in the process of becoming beautiful. There are shiny bits, shiny smooth facets on this jewel. And there are other bits, not quite so shiny. Some of them may be quite unpolished. But the whole jewel itself is full of promise, full of potential, and is precious, just as it is. So can we see ourselves like that? We are beings in the process of becoming. And inevitably, we are not perfect. There are parts of us that are polished and good. And there are parts of us that cause us problems, or that we think cause us problems. So can we have a sense of kindness to our many parts, to all the different aspects of ourselves, whether pleasant or unpleasant, perfect or imperfect, easy or difficult? We're always doing our best. We're always trying to live our lives in the best way possible. We're always trying to be just happy. Tender human beings following a sometimes difficult path through life. Multifaceted, in the process of becoming beautiful, in the process of reaching our potential. So can we wish ourselves well? Can we have a sense of loving kindness to our being that is always trying its best? Now, now we're going to bring to mind a good friend, someone that we care about, someone that is really important to us. We can do this with an image of them in our minds, or just simply, if we can't do that, just having a sense of them being sitting next to us, remembering maybe the way they laugh, or a really happy time together. And just noticing the feelings in the body when you bring this friend to mind. Particularly feelings in the heart center, around the chest, center of the chest, just below the bottom of the ribs. Can you feel anything there? If you can't, it's okay. But if you can, just allowing it to be there, allowing it to grow as you think of your good friend. Your good friend is very like yourself in many ways. They have good days and bad days. They have challenging times and easy times. Sometimes they are happy, sometimes not so happy. Just like yourself. And like you, and like me, they're always doing their best to be happy and to live a good life. So thinking of them and wishing them well, sending them a cloud of loving kindness. Staying in contact with your heart center, as you keep your friend in mind, wishing them every happiness in their lives. We're going to let the good friend go for the moment and invite into our meditation a stranger, a relative stranger, somebody that we don't see very often. Could be a postie, a neighbour, someone we see in the street, someone in a shop. Just bringing them to mind either as an image or a sense of them, maybe inviting them to sit next to you, and just noticing how you feel about them. You may have a sense of connection with them, or you may not. You may even feel slightly indifferent towards them. And that's okay. This is how we tend to be with people we don't really know. It's quite hard to make a loving connection with a stranger. But maybe we can consider that this person has a life that in some ways is very much like our own. They have ups and downs. They have challenges and difficulties. Sometimes life is good. Sometimes it's not so good. And they feel just like we feel, the same emotions, the same feelings in the bodies. Like us, they're getting older and they may not want to. Like us, they get sick. They encounter fear, particularly at the moment, in these difficult times. And one day, like us, they will die. They're just tender human beings. Can we reach out to them and offer them the hand of friendship and goodwill in our minds, wishing them well? letting the stranger move away now for the moment, and bringing into our meditation, in our imagination, someone we have difficulty with. Preferably not a major difficulty, but somebody that makes us uncomfortable, somebody we don't get on with, who irritates us perhaps, someone we'd rather not be around. An image of them, or just a sense of them, whatever works for you. And just noticing the feelings that arise in the body, trying not to think about them, just trying to feel their presence. What are the kind of feelings you're getting in the body when they bring them to mind? Maybe a tightness in the chest, a heaviness in the belly, maybe a churning. Maybe the whole of your being stiffens up. And just trying to notice the sensations in the body rather than letting them become anything else. Just the bare sensations. Probably unpleasant sensations. And just first of all, having a sense of loving kindness to these sensations, unpleasant as they are. Shining the light of your loving kindness on them. Showering these unpleasant feelings with love. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just arising out of our past conditioning, out of our past likes and dislikes. Can we welcome them, make them feel at home, be kind to them? And then, while still snuggling up to these unpleasant, uncomfortable feelings, just keeping this person in mind, and in spite of this, in spite of how they make us feel, just having a sense of well-wishing towards them, as much as we are able to. They too are vulnerable, tender human beings, doing their best, sometimes in difficult times. They feel very much like you feel. They have good days and bad days. And whatever you might think of them, they're always doing their best to live their lives and be happy. So as much as you can, wishing them well. And in the fifth and final stage, we're going to bring everybody together. Yourselves, the good friend, the stranger, and the difficult person, all sitting together, all tender human beings with so much in common. And seeing if you can have a sense of well-wishing equally to all four, including yourself, including the person you have difficulty with. We may not always agree with people, and that's fine. But we can have a sense of support for all human beings, including ourselves. Can we feel a sense of solidarity with all four of these people? Then can we spread out our goodwill, our loving kindness to everyone who has been meditating with us this morning? People doing this extraordinary, radical practice of wishing well to others. Very special. And can we spread our goodwill further to all those suffering from the effects of coronavirus at the moment? Both those who have the ailment and the people who are looking after them, the families, health workers, pharmacies, people, everybody involved. And can we radiate our love, our loving kindness even further to all key workers, all those people keeping the fabric of our lives moving in the shops, on transport and buses, in factories, farmers, all other people, everyone who is still working, keeping the fabric of our lives in place. And then spreading our loving kindness out to all human beings in the world, wherever they are, whoever they are, and whatever they're experiencing, wishing them well. And going even further, wishing all living beings well, all human beings, all animals, all birds, all creatures that live in water, and even insects. All these living, sentient beings all feel pain, all feel pleasure, and they're all just trying to live their lives as best they can. Can we have a sense of solidarity with them all? And most of all, can we have a sense of helpfulness and friendship to ourselves? The more we can love ourselves, the more we can love others. Can we be patient and kind? You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. I'm going to bring the meditation to an end now, and when I do, as always, being gentle with yourself, taking your time, opening your eyes and moving your body.